All right. Blue, red, Phoenix. So you got Arclight Phoenix here. 3-2 flying haste at the beginning of your combat step. If you cast 3 or more instant sorcerer's turn, you get to return it from your graveyard to play. So we pair this with effects like Royal Scion, Radical Ideas Jumpstart, and Thrill of Possibility. Or Surveil from this to get it into the bin. Then we play a bunch of cantrips to flip it into play. Because this deck's playing a lot of cards that draw cards anyways, we got some Improbable Alliance here as a secondary win condition, as well as Crackling Drake, since we've got a lot of instants and sorceries. And then we got some Brazen Borrowers in here as well as a little bit of tempo and additional evasive threat. So let's go ahead and dive on into some match with this and see how it goes. Yeah, for people asking if I bought Secret Layers, Chuki there and a couple other folks had sent me some codes for sleeves because they know I'm a cosmetic junkie. Epinor, thanks for the brand new Prime support. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch. Thanks for shipping that my way this month and keeping me around. Seems pretty good. I think I'm gonna bottom the mountain here probably. Really on this tap for now. Don't really want to shock in case they're an aggressive deck and like not 100% sure what I'm really looking for until I draw another card or two. The op could also be useful down the line in the event like I find like a Thrill of Possibility or something. Spectral Sailor, some kind of flash deck. One of the old variations of blue-green flash that's less likely to be top-ending Nissa. It's been a second since we've cast this card in Standard. Pretty punished for playing Mountain here, because it means I can't bring back the Arclight Phoenix this turn. So go ahead and play this tapped and pass, I think. It's all about flexing, Jared. So the showcase Brazen Borrower is cheaper than the borderless Brazen Borrower. Which means the borderless Brazen Borrower is basically for peasants. This isn't a peasant stream. Yeah, you can always see the deck queue on my website. All the formats are represented in the deck queue. You just gotta scroll down. They're sorted by format and then by current score within each format. This is our first game with the deck prime. So, no. Looking for a 4th land here. Perfect. Most of the decks that we play on Stream Prime are viewer submitted deck lists, and we're playing them card for card to start. Sometimes I adjust the mana base, or like if there's a really big glaring omission. See, I disagree with that, Endo. I think, in general, your decks are more aesthetically pleasing if all the cards look very similar to each other. So, like, I think the showcase frames look incredibly out of place alongside of any of the other artwork in the game. So, obviously subjective and you do you, but greatly prefer just having all my cards be borderless as opposed to, like, having some be random showcases and some be other things. I'm gonna bottom that against the counterspell deck. If you did a deck bump today, I have a queue for it. So yeah, all the deck bumps that happen, I don't always acknowledge them in chat because there's just too much going on, and their shillings aren't actually giving me money, so I don't call them out all the time. But leading on Phoenix, it's the card I care the least if it gets counterspelled. Next turn, hopefully we draw a land and get to go Alliance into Crackling Drake. Come for the Magic, stayed for the Rants. Thanks for the half a year branch, I appreciate it. Welcome back. Yeah, the standard format's got a lot of different decks in it, but like, so much of this gameplay really just kind of sucks. Maybe they're finally out of counterspells. He said with a sigh. Okay. Okay. I'm not dead yet. Great. Wow. Okay. That might actually stabilize us. Cause I get it's my third Arclight to bring back. I have a shock here for this. Okay. Great, that's 3 spells. I did Idea, Thrill, Shock. Four Phoenixes and 23 cards. Pretty not bad. Cacaw has been initiated, right? Let's pick that one back up here. Even if they counterspell this, they don't get a token this turn. So this activation gives me a 1/1. I think I have to ditch the Borrower, right? Because I need to hold up Shock this turn. Because I don't have to hold up Shock, huh? I just like full pump the brakes this turn. If I attack with one Phoenix, I guess if I attack with one Phoenix, I'm still not dead to a removal spell. Yeah, I'm gonna attack with one Phoenix here, because I'm getting a token, so that means I'm gonna have 5 blockers, so they're 4 attackers, so they have to be able to remove 2 things to kill me. Yeah, if they flash in Borrower, they have 4 attackers to 5 blockers if I attack with a Phoenix. So my goal here is to apply some pressure while not leaving myself dead to a single bounce or removal spell. So I want to leave 1 more blocker back, then they'll have attackers. So after they flash this in, I'll still have 3 plus 2. They're dead right unless they have a counterspell. No, they have a Brazen Borrower in exile that they can play. In my head, that card can't block. It definitely can. I think I go shock this, bounce your token, play my Borrower. Right? These blocks are great for us. Maybe this was a screw it, I'm dead attack. That was a really good draw. I have 2 shots to any other 1 or 2 mana instant or sorcery. Alright, they're dead. This was a sick game. This was a sick game. Caw-caw! Caw-caw! One is not none, chat. One is not none. Is our deck good when all of our Phoenixes are in the top half? Check yes or no. What do we think? All right, so all the thrill of possibilities are coming out. Brazen Borrower actually seems kind of mediocre here. I want Gusts and Lava Coils. What do I want to get rid of? I guess Electromancer kind of provides early pressure. Does Crackling Drake just suck? 4 mana is a lot of mana, right? I don't know if this is cutting too many threats, though. We've got Bird, Borrower, Alliance. That's probably fine. Let's try it. Let's just draw, like, all of our birds again in the top half. Spoiler season! Alright, focus here. Yeah, I keep this. Yeah, I think this is definitely hand sucks keep territory. Alright, we'll pull up spoilers after the match. When playing this deck, how do you suggest someone get the Phoenixes in the top half of the deck? Is that you just draw them before you get to the bottom half? Yeah, basically. These are one of the sleeves from the new secret layer, right? I believe. You can get the sleeves on eBay. It's a good tip. Yeah, it's the 11th, right? It's about official spoiler season. About a month out. Sick. Perfect draw. Proactive 2-mana play. Quench my thirst, Daddy. Quench my thirst. This opponent has just been so slow. Just 20 minutes into this this first match, and just like only in game 2. Is this Magic Online? It's taking so long. I don't understand. I don't understand. Yeah, like, the arena release is like days after the Mythic Invitational qualifier weekend. They literally put the biggest arena tournament of the quarter that people can play in at the absolute lowest possible hype point they could find. I wonder how many years what Wizards is gonna have to make Magic cards for to figure out they should put standard tournaments at the beginning of formats and non-rotating tournaments at the end of formats. Nah, they've been bad at scheduling tournaments for a long time. Which formats they put where? Come on, opponent. I wish I could check my rank mid-match, because I know we're up a game, but I almost just want to concede the match just because this is so miserable. Are they just griefing us at this point? It feels like they're just griefing us. Maybe they had something in real life come up. If that's the case, concede the match. No, they're not DC'd. They keep running the timer down and then clicking next once the timer's like halfway. See? They keep clicking through eventually. Every game action they're running the timer down. Come on. Pick up the pace. We need more Teferi quotes, chat. We need some Teferi quotes in our lives. I believe SCG casters described this behavior as deliberate. Hurry. Let's slow this down, yep. When are we getting a 1-mana Teferi? Next summer? Next time, I've already got the reported player form up. Every time they rope from now on, I'm going to continue filling it out. They want me to include a log file for the match. Does the log file even have... Does the log file even have timestamps? For what's going on? Where's the log file located? I have this written down somewhere. Users. Jeff. App data. Local low. Wizards of the Coast. MTGA. Output log.txt. Here we go. At least I'm actually getting work done now, right? All right, player reported. Apologies to everyone at home. Do we even want to finish this match? No, I'm not even sure I want to play the match. Like, my time's worth more than this. I don't care about my rank this season. If we concede, we're rewarding bad behavior and they win, I guess. Yeah, I'll keep it up. I'm gonna tweet a picture of their username too. Shout out to Gregulator77 for roping me every game action this match. Your life must be pretty awful to need this match win this badly, so you can take it. Oh yeah, next time we'll compose the tweet on stream, but there's the tweet. You wouldn't send that tweet? Listen. Don't be a dick on the internet if you don't want people to call you out on it. Listen, people who are giving that much grief, those aren't angry keystrokes. Those are just typing quickly. That's just what typing at, 80 or 90 words a minute sounds like. All right, let's look at some spoilers. Ashiok Nightmare Muse. 5-drop, creates a 2/3 Nightmare creature token with, when this creature attacks or blocks, each opponent exiles the top 2 cards of their library. -3, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, then that player exiles a card from their hand. You may cast up to 3 face-up cards your opponent owns from exile without paying their mana cost. This card's really good. It pluses to defend itself, it minuses to impact the board and generate card advantage, and then its ultimate generates some card advantage as well. Yeah, 5 mana Planeswalkers cannot die to Fry. Art is also very good, agree. Athreos, Shroud Veiled, as long as your devotion to white or black is less than 7, it isn't a creature, so you gotta get 5 other pips in play. At the beginning of your end step, put a coin counter on another target creature. Whenever a creature with a coin counter on it dies or is put in exile, return it to the battlefield under your control. Alright. That card's sweet. It generates card advantage right away, theoretically. This is the one that got leaked early, right? So it's a 5 loyalty, 4 mana that only minuses, and then you can exile 4 other cards from your graveyard to cast it from your graveyard. Rian, thanks for the 13 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. It's just an alt art version. Leaked. Escape seems neat. Different variation on... What's it called? 3 mana Ashiok. If there's a lot of good escape cards, 3 mana Ashiok will probably be playable. Alright, let's play another match here. At least we had a good first game of that match, even if our opponent ended up griefing us out of the game. It's fine. Not amazing, but fine. Hopefully we draw another blue source to get to Crackling Drake on curve here. Had to make a choice on which of the 2 lands I wanted. There's more blue than red mana in my deck, so I think it's correct to fetch the mountain just because we're more likely to hit a second blue than we are to hit a second red. Perfect. Sweet. That's great too. So we'll get to end step, Radical Idea, ditch the Phoenix. And then we'll get to Drake into turn 5, like double Radical Idea, bring the bird back. The first match was against the older blue-green flash variation, the build that people were playing with, like, Spectral Sailor and stuff before the last Mythic Championship, so not the variation that Nelson and friends innovated. You know, they don't have double green, so I'm just going to keep jamming Drake since I've got a bunch of them. This also gives me more chances to draw a second Phoenix to discard to this Radical Idea. Okay, Growth Spiral likely implies they're playing the Nelson and Friends variation of the Flash deck with Nissa and Hydrate Crisis. I would make the argument that the deck that Brad Nelson and the other players played successfully is a different deck than the deck that I've talked about not being good frequently for the last 6 months. The deck that I've talked about not being good that our previous opponent was playing is still not good. Good players added a bunch of good cards to a deck that was otherwise very mediocre and made it better. That's what actual innovation looks like. Interesting that they crease this for 3 there. There's like night packing now to play around sweepers. So I'm gonna have 7 mana total next turn, so I'll be able to Improbable Allegiance plus double Radical Idea Shock. Get my Phoenix back. I think that's a great way to describe it. It's the best bits from the flash deck with the best bits from the ramp deck. I think that's super accurate. Definitely agree with that sentiment. See if we can just race them here. The Brazen Borrower tempoing one of their tokens, then being another evasive creature could be useful. Check out some of our options to start here. Yeah, I think I'm in for that. I have a Brazen Borrower here. Yep. They have double Borrower? I assume this isn't resolving on the way back down. Well, this game felt kind of close for half a second. Flash deck's really good when you put a lot of good cards in it. Aether Gust sounds really good. Let's board in the Lava Coils and Aether Gust again. Trim some of our expensive cards and our cards that don't feel good to get counterspelled. We're dead, Tom. It doesn't matter. None of the decisions matter. We can't win the game. Yeah, I agree, Mail Branch. I feel like there's a good chance Historic loses its kind of unique feel from Standard. Like I'm not really sure there's really like with the current cards in the format without Oko or Field, the format is probably going to be very samey to Standard. Like there isn't a real distinction between them at this point. Am I sad what's happened to Oko in all formats? I mean, whatever. I mean, what's the point of that question? Like, does it matter? No? You just play with the Magic cards they give you? Don't get emotionally attached to your Magic cards. Is Vampires deck in Historic? Maybe. We're going to try it tomorrow. Had a submission for Historic Vamps. Sounds much better than that first one. It actually does something. We'll bottom the second Royal Scions here, I think. Island up to start here. I would make the argument, Axe, that none of those decks you just listed are meaningfully different than things you can do in Standard. You're right that they play cards that aren't Standard legal. I didn't say that they didn't play cards that aren't Standard legal. My discussion point was the things that they're doing aren't meaningfully different than things that you could otherwise accomplish in Standard. Which I think is accurate. Also, none of those decks you've just listed other than Gruul are decks that seem to be very good in Historic. So there's that aspect too. It's like you're talking about decks like Elves and whatever Affinity is, and none of those decks I've seen people play that seem very good. Haven't played with or against decks like those that feel competitive. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even in Pioneer, we're seeing that, right? Like, in Pioneer has a deeper card pool than Historic. Like, the best things in Pioneer are mostly things that are Standard legal, a lot of them. And obviously, it's not to say all of them. Like, I did not just say all of them are Standard legal, but a lot of them are. I just wanted somewhere to play Yarok. Me too, Wolfie. I really enjoyed the Yarok deck. How much Standard have you missed? Not a lot. This is the first deck in the first match that we played. We ended up conceding because our opponent griefed us out of the match. Ambusher me, daddy. Black-green scales is very reasonable in Pioneer for sure. Yep. Well, we got two ways to try and kill this next turn. Deal. This prevents them from making a token. And it gets rid of a counter that they could potentially counter a Lava Coil with, so... Okay. Maybe Alliance can drag us kicking and screaming out of this game if it resolves. We got one card left. We've got two radical ideas here, so I get to do this. And this blocks Brazen Borrower. And then one more token next turn. Lets us trade with the Frilled Mystic even. Really surprised they didn't do that in response to the Alliance, because if they would have hit, like, a Negate. Maybe they boarded their Negates out. Castle of Antris is actually incredibly scary. It's going to increase the average quality of their draws a whole lot. Lets them scry 2 every turn, so they get 3 chances to find a bomb. Bottoms up. Bottoms up. Ew. Sure. Not looking for either of those. Huh? I'm gonna do this now in case we draw Phoenix. Aether Gust, sure. I'll scry again here. Yep. Okay, 1 was good enough to keep. They attack with Frilled Mystic. I'm gonna double block. They found second Brazen Borrower. I get into a little bit of trouble. Good trade for us. Perfect. The addition of Phoenix. I'm not sure what you mean by addition of Phoenix. The deck felt okay overall. I know this deck has Alliance in it, but it's very different than like the blue-red Alliance deck that we've played previously in the past. So just because a deck's the same colors and has the same win condition doesn't necessarily mean it's the same archetype that's previously been played. I don't know how we beat that. How do you feel about Alliance versus Pyromancer in this deck? I feel like the person who asked me to build the deck asked me to play Alliance, so that's what we're starting with. Hey, Bulgarian, thanks for the 14 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. All right. Let's see if we can run him down. Just John, thanks for checking in for the 7th month. I feel like we're swimming upstream, chat. Feels dead, man. That did not feel particularly close. Feel like we just kind of got railed there. Might be a reason why no one's been playing Phoenix. I think Wizards of the Coast is worried about being able to monetize Brawl. I think that's what their concern is. Their concern is if a format is popular where you only need one copy of each of the cards, their potential business model revenue could be in jeopardy. Now, whether or not that's smart thinking or good thinking is definitely up for debate, but I would not be surprised if that's their general line of thought. In addition to Commander. Commander doesn't exist on Magic Arena. Surely they should just want as many people playing Magic as possible, so they'll switch formats over time and just play Magic in general. I would think, but I feel like someone at Wizards of the Coast who's making decisions has this idea in their head that if they make the other formats less appealing, more people will play Standard. Feels like the direction they've pushed in. Now, I would estimate that's not a good direction or assumption to make. I think a lot of people just don't play Magic or play other games or just like take breaks rather than playing more Standard, but I'm not the one making the business decisions, obviously. Little punish for attacking with this. I attacked with it because I wouldn't be able to block that they left up an activation anyways. Maybe forcing them to leave up an activation would have been ideal. Yeah, both of those turned into 2/3. This turn sucks. Crackling Drake's a great draw. Although I only have one instant in here. Awkward. You're seeing Rotting Registrar with Embercleave and Pioneer. I'm wondering if there's something like that in Standard. Yeah, Wily Edel. Before the green bans, there were people playing those things in Standard together, Jedi. I think it's okay. They took my Improbable Alliance. That's rude. I'm just gonna go ahead and trade here and take 4. Hey, thanks for the 9 months, Bulletproof. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Oh, God. Are we dead? I think we're dead. I believe we have died. Yeah, we're just super dead. No, I don't think splashing a third color is free in Standard. I don't think we have the appropriate fixing for doing that. I'm also not sure what problem you're aiming to solve by putting Registrar in the blue-red flash deck. Like, again, if you want to exercise appropriate good deck building, you should never ask yourself the question if I can do something. You should ask yourself the question first if I should do something. What problem are you addressing with the deck by trying to make the change that you're asking yourself if you want to make it? Borrower doesn't really block here and just bouncing's kind of mediocre. Just bring in some cheap removal. We're really not into proving people wrong around here. If you want to be a useful contributing member of chat, you should be ready to prove yourself correct as opposed to expecting someone else to justify why you're wrong. I think the shell could be ported to Pioneer. Blue-Red Phoenix is one of the best decks in Pioneer, Lord Aaron. It's literally an established archetype there. I'm going to keep the land that doesn't hurt me. A little bit worse for my colors, but probably find a blue source anyways, yeah. No one drop out of the aggro deck. That's interesting. Yeah, I think I'm in for both of these, huh? Just thinking of turns of a young Pyromancer, Improbable Legion Seller. Is that worse than doing Phoenix things? So, like... So I guess I'm confused then when you said port this deck. So... In my mind, porting this deck means porting the Phoenix part of this deck. So if you're talking about an Improbable Alliance deck in Pioneer, that would be different than what this deck is doing. Like, in my mind, this deck is a Phoenix deck first, and Improbable Alliance is like this kind of afterthought that we have. If that makes sense. I think I'm just playing defense here. They want to spend their turn pumping this to attack through my bird. I'm okay with that. I don't think it's fair to say that Arena is an afterthought. I think Historic feels like an afterthought, and I think they haven't been able to allocate an appropriate amount of resources to developing Historic for whatever reason. But, like, they just moved Magic Worlds to being on Arena, right? Like, calling Arena an afterthought, I think is just, like, fundamentally just not true. We got there eventually. Phoenix, generally speaking, Lord Aaron, just isn't very good in a deck that's not just, like, dedicated to making it happen. Just, like, trying to have Phoenix as an afterthought means the card's not playable in most situations, in my experience. What would an Alliance deck look like? You can go to my website, jeffhoagland.com, and click Standard Decks, and there is both a Grixis and a pure Blue-Red Alliance variations posted up there for your viewing pleasure. I ended up looking up WotC on Glassdoor after yesterday's stream. I understand the resource shortage. Yep. For those not familiar, Glassdoor Reviews is a place where employees can review their employers. So if you're someone who's applying for jobs at larger companies, you should definitely read up there to learn about the workplace culture that occurs. And let's just say the reviews there regarding Wizards aren't particularly stunning. Easy block on Bone Crusher here. They don't have double red, thankfully, so they can't Ember Cleave. Morning extras. This is getting up to a 3-4 this turn, so I kind of need to hit another Lava Coil this turn. Yeah, I agree, Pelly. What our payoff does not feel particularly good. Like, what we've warped our deck around to make happen doesn't feel like it's proportional to the amount of work we've gone through to make it happen. I've never owned MagicEsports.net. Several subscribers on the channel purchased various Magic Esports related names. All right, let's give this one more try. So we only played like 2.5 matches, but this one feels like a pretty big miss to me. Just like there's so many powerful things to be doing in this current standard format that trying to get just bringing Phoenix back as our payoff does not seem particularly good. It's a lot of hoops, yep. Aren't reviews on that site usually written by people that left the company? Yeah, so people no longer employed by the company will generally be able to give you good insights as to why they don't want to be there anymore. So, like, as with every news source, you should take it with a grain of salt and balance, but everything has shades of bias in it. The volume does speak for something. That is very true. You would like to hear why people say, sure, I'm sure you could reach out to any number of Wizards employees and ask them what they like about the company. Again, like, resources like that, and this is why it's very frustrating to interact with so many humans. Like, nobody's saying, like, this should be the end-all, be-all, and this should be the only thing you look at and make a consideration off of, but it should be a very important factor. I don't know all the details, Bips. Feel free to research. From my understanding, Glassdoor is reputable. If you know a reason why that's not the case, feel free to present it. Feels magic, man. Yes, everything, everywhere is lies. You should not trust anything you read on the internet anywhere. It's all lies. It's all a plot by the deep state to make sure everything is incorrect. They're out to get them. You can always find my schedule, including what formats I'm planning to play when, on my website here. Yeah, we already went through some spoilers on stream, J-Bags. Scions are probably pretty bad against a questing beast deck. I'm off this deck. Let's go to the next one. This deck's just not good. The power level of what's... Yeah, just, there's a reason why people aren't playing this archetype right now in Standard, and just, like, the power level of Eldraine is just so high that, like, getting this back as your payoff is just not good enough. Like, even when you have all four of them in the top half of your deck, it's just, like, barely on par with, like, people Nissaing and Hydroid Crisising you. So... we're going to go ahead and roll along to the next one. We're going to play a deck that's pretty close to Warfield's list from the Mythic Invitational. I got a couple other small details here that are different. We're going to dive into those in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and hit a quick ad roll while we get set up for this one. Back in a few, folks. Thanks for hanging out today.